Hello and welcome back to Pleasure Talk Tuesday. My name is Iane Celeste and I'm a holistic pleasure coach. So if you haven't checked out last week's installment of Pleasure Talk Tuesday where we talked about our relationship to our body and our sensual intimacy and why that's so important to our experience of pleasure, go ahead and click on the link down below. Watch that video before we get into this particular content because it'll basically build on one another. So for today, on this second week of Pleasure Talk Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the breath. So what role does the breath play in our experience of pleasure and how we connect to our pleasure? Well, let's start with biology, our bodies. So the breath is deeply connected to our parasympathetic nervous system. So we've got two types of nervous systems. We have the sympathetic nervous system, which is kind of the fight or flight response. And then we have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of that, which slows things down, kind of like the anti-stress response. So when we inhale and exhale with intention and we really begin to focus on our breath and use our breath as a tool to calm ourselves down or to connect or to come into presence with ourselves and with the moment, what we're doing is we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system. We're telling our nervous system through the conscious awareness and utilization of the breath to say, slow down. So what role does this play in our pleasure? Well, not only does this allow us to calm our nervous system down, calm our fight or flight and stress response down, it creates space. And maybe you've heard of that before in meditation or yoga classes, using your breath to carve out and create space in the body. So when you're relaxed, you're opening up your body, whereas before, maybe what we talked about last week, when you can feel your body's in resistance, you feel tension. So let's give the example of our shoulders being tight. When you breathe, perhaps you're allowing yourself to create space within your musculature. Your nervous system is telling your muscles, relax, and you're opening up space. So you're opening up space within your body to do what? To receive, to be perceptive, to be open. There's Hindu traditions that say that prana, which is our vital life source, our energetic spiritual energy, rides on the wave of the breath. So as you inhale and exhale with intention, you're calming your nervous system, but you're also inviting revitalization into your body, into your being. You're giving yourself permission to allow your radiant self to take up space in your body, as opposed to allowing deeper, heavier emotions to take hold and constrict your physical self. So an example that I like to give when we bring this idea of our sensual intimacy or our relationship to our body in union with the breath, the example that I like to give about why that relationship is so powerful and allows us to experience pleasure and harness our relationship to pleasure is the example of dense earth. So imagine there's places in your body that hold a lot of energy, a lot of emotion. Maybe they're places of trauma or places of loss of energy in your body that now feel empty. So it's stagnant. So imagine those places are like dense, packed earth. But this earth, nonetheless, is super fertile. It can grow beauty and bounty in it. But what do you have to do to this dense earth to allow cultivation to happen and to allow roots to take hold? You have to aerate the earth, beginning to move the earth through the introduction of air, of breath. So the same thing, when you invite breath into your body and you're consciously bringing that energy into your body and pushing it and placing it in those places of dense emotion or dense stress or trauma, what you're doing is you're creating small veins of openness that when you continue that practice with your breath, sending your breath to those places of density, you're creating more space and opening yourself up to cultivate pleasure, to cultivate joy, to cultivate love. So our breath is a super powerful key to not only unify our body with our desires and our pleasure, but to also create space for possibility, create space in our thinking, in our perception. Part of the practice of mindfulness that I spoke about last week when I spoke about the body scan is creating spaces and expansion within your perception and therefore in your thinking. So breathing creates space and pause. So that way you no longer completely react to something, stiffen up, and react from a place of fear or anxiety. Taking a moment to breathe and open yourself up allows you to then give a pause and space for new ideas and new thinking and new perceptions, a new way of feeling in that moment in whatever was the trigger. So the breath is super important in this practice of cultivating and creating and expanding your experience of pleasure. So I hope this was beneficial or useful. I hope there was maybe some little seeds planted here or there. If so, go ahead and give me a like. Also, subscribe. I think there's something like a little bell that you can click on somewhere up here, and that notifies you when I add more videos. So stay tuned for next week's installment of Pleasure Talk Tuesday, where we're going to go another layer deeper into our pleasure and the source of our pleasure. So we're going to be talking about our eroticism. We're going to define it, talk about it, and learn how we can engage with it. So I hope you stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day or night wherever you are. Bye!